I'm Didi.
Hey everybody, Armand here, Chi Skills. Welcome to our podcast, and today we're talking about Qigong in relation to our daily lives and how it can help us.
Yeah. So maybe it's good to first have a look at what Qigong actually means.
Wow, yeah. So Qi is sort of untranslatable, I guess. It means so many things, but for this podcast, let's keep it to energy, which it mostly translates to, right? Especially in the context of Qigong. So energy, and then we have Kung, and Kung means skill. So being skillful over energy.
Yeah. And over your, hopefully over your own energy.
Exactly. So if we take this a little bit further, you could say Qigong actually means if we get the understanding that we actually are energy, we're becoming skillful over ourselves.
Yeah.
So that's the first step, I guess, in Qigong, is understanding that, when we awaken the energy body, there's still this sort of disconnect, like, oh, here am I, and there's this energy. Yeah. And there's like a separation, there's a difference there. That's the first step. And the second step is where we fuse those together and we come to the understanding, I am energy. Yeah. And that's different. Yeah. Right? Now there's a switch, there's something happening in us. Yeah. Our perspective changes, and now it becomes a matter of, okay, now I am energy. And what does this energy consist of? Mm-hmm. Who am I then? And how do I become skillful over this energy? Mm-hmm. So, also things like personal development, things like that, it's all in there, right? Health is in there, vitality is in there, your soul is in there. Everything is in there.
Yeah. It's a much, because when you started this journey and when I started this journey, what you see happening is that you start training, and it's a practice of an hour a week or 2 hours a week, and or your morning practices came in, and then, but it's kind of a thing you do at a certain time of the day, and then you continue with the rest.
You mean okay. So you have your exercise, and then you go on leading your, you do your daily things and everything. Of course, that's sort of the
sort
beginning.
of the entrance, and that was for me the entrance. Starting this journey, I kind of saw it all as separated parts of life. So, okay, you do your training, you practice these things, and then you continue with living on. But
almost like a sort of retreat thing, have your daily, reconnecting with yourself, all these things, and then, okay, we go out and do our thing. Yeah. And that's the start. But now, I see where you're going with this. But at a certain point, these things start to fuse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you get this point that you become, especially with the mental training, or feeling energy was such a game changer for me when I felt the energy building the ball and doing the stretches and really starting to implement this in my life. And I already had mindfulness training before that. Yeah. So that was a practice that I already did almost daily. But then the stretches and the building the energy body or awakening the energy body, that completely changed everything.
Everything. And it was not the first thing I was taught, right?
No.
So for me it took a while before I got into that realm. Yeah. So for when we teach people now, it's the first thing we teach. Yeah. Because it saves you so many years. It can save you literally years, or even, for some people it won't even happen, right? So it doesn't happen by itself, this reconnection with this energy. Yeah. So awakening the energy body is the first thing we teach. And that's the perspective changer. And absolutely. The reactions, when you teach it, they're amazing.
Yeah. And but the funny thing is, you you do this practice. You feel your own energy by building the ball, and then you make it bigger, and you feel your energy field, and then you. For me, it was also something of a memory that came back as of like, oh, I know how this feels.
Yeah, yeah.
I know it because this was with me all my life, but it kind of went to the
background. Yeah. Of course, when we grow up, we become more and more rational. The brain takes over, you could say. So the feeling, the literal feeling, it sort of goes to the background. I'm sure I was very connected with it when I was young, but it needed a while to come back into your life. But I think for a lot of people, when you bring them back to that frequency, when you help them awakening this energy field again, this feeling, it's more of us like, I'm back home again. Yeah. And of course, there's a surprise sometimes, like, what is this? But then there's also this almost like, and I had it too. It's like a sort of a relief. It's like, yes, Yeah. This is who I am. This is who I am. Yeah. Right.
There's a lot of stillness coming with that feeling.
Exactly.
Because you feel, I think for me, I felt connected with myself again.
Yeah.
I felt connected with a deeper me than that very
reactive. The ego, mind. The egoist, us, right? It's such it flips it to a completely different frequency. Yeah. And there's a lot of there's a relief. There's stillness. There's more alignment. There's more centered. All that stuff happens immediately when we go to that frequency. And of course, in the beginning, like I was saying in the beginning of this podcast, it's more like, oh wow, there's this feeling. Yeah. And then when you get used to it and you start training it and you start strengthening the energy step by step, then this switch starts to happen automatically. It's like, wow, I am energy. And not only am I energy, other people are energy. Energy is all around. I'm living in an energy field. I cannot even escape energy. It's just there. So you become more and more, the more sensitive you become for yourself, the more sensitive you become for your environment. And in interaction with other people's situations, your response to it, this whole consciousness process starts to kick in. Yeah. And now you become more skillful, not only over yourself, but also in how to deal with the reality of things.
Absolutely. In everything you do.
Everything. Yeah.
So if you... what we said, how does this translate to your daily life?
Yeah.
It's in everything. Because you're now gonna make different decisions as you're connected. You feel you start feeling deeper, on a deeper level. Not only on a rational level.
No.
But you're gonna make decisions more out of, okay, is this helpful for my energy, or am I just giving away my energy?
Of course. So when you start with this stuff, you can actually at a certain point feel like, oh, okay, my energy is completely down, or my energy is completely up. So stabilizing this is of course a large part of the process, and also see how does the environment affect that, right? You become more aware of everything in your environment. I mean, it can be the climate, can be the moon, can be, because you feel like, oh, I didn't sleep that well. How can it be? Oh, wow, it's full moon. Oh, wow, yeah, that does make sense. So you become more and more aware of these things as well. Yeah. But for a lot of people, and especially the students, of course, that we teach, you see a lot of them are very high sensitive people to begin with.
Yeah.
A lot of people starting to train this already sort of have a sense, I guess, that there must be something there, sort of gut feeling or so. Yeah. Because same for us, I guess, right? I didn't know what I got into, but it sort of appealed to me. And what that is, I don't know. That's just something that maybe resonates on a deeper level that you just cannot see yet. Yeah. But for a lot of people, it means that these become sort of survival skills for them, right? So if they even just doing their job or going out in public transport or being around a lot of people, they need some anchor, right? You teach them to how to tune into the energy body. You start that process, and they're like, oh wow, now everything starts to change, because we pretty quickly figure out together that what they're actually suffering from is a high reactive state. Of course, there's a high sensitivity state, but they mostly suffer from the high reactivity state. So they're like in a sort of state of alertness all the time, you could say, right? They go out, it's like they're almost like a bunny in the headlights, right? They're like sort of frozen. So this training helps these people so much, because you create this energy thing, this energy awareness, and then they have this anchor that they can sort of regulate this reactivity, but also just the situation where they're in. That they're, if the first thing I teach them is just stay connected with your energy body, make that a constant. Practice with it. If you get into a train, just sit and then focus on your energy body. Create this anchor instead of being out there all the time like, whoa, and then getting into this almost resistance state. It's like, just focus on your energy body. Just sit there and do that for a month, right? Go into the supermarket with it, just everywhere. During dinner, just remember how you have to sort of. I have them put Post-its in their car, right? It's like, just to remember, it's like, okay, focus on this energy body until that becomes a normal thing.
Yeah.
So that's totally different than just, Qigong for health or Qigong for, just building vital energy or things like that, or learning how to move energy. It's all in there, for sure.
Yeah.
But it really counts in these situations, right?
Yeah. I think for me, how it feels is that you kind of have this protective bubble around you. It's more that you can choose. Do I want my energy just to go out very widely and to if you walk in a forest, for example, it's really nice to just have your energy go outwards. And
Indeed, that happens automatically, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then when you're surrounded by a lot of people and all these interactions happens, sometimes you just want to be a little bit closer to yourself and then protect yourself by all these impacts of all these people surrounding you with all their fears and all their sorrow and all this stuff that you automatically feel.
A lot of people are very sensitive for that, and then they just, it's like a rodeo, right? All the time.
Yeah.
And this can so much help them to shift from this alert state of mind to more of an observing state, right?
Yeah.
Like you talk about these bubbles, like you're in your bubble, you're there, but you're coming from a very still point.
You don't have to interact with that. Also, you're not actually talking, but you don't really have to do anything with it. You can just sit there and notice, but not doing anything with it.
You're not touching it.
Yeah.
You're there with your energy body and out there at the same time, and that's just a totally different perspective. Yeah.
Yeah. And what I also noticed by myself and still learning is what kind of choices do you make in life?
For sure.
Because that is something, if you talk about what kind of impact does it have on your daily life. Growing up, you just kind of get a little bit more disconnected with yourself all the time, and then you just start to live from this ego state of mind. But that's also the in a way that people have told you how to live. So you're gonna make choices that are socially accepted.
Yeah.
And this is and to be honest, I'm still very much in that kind of transition where I want to be more into how did I call it yesterday? Like a radical self-care, like that I want to make the choices that are good for me, that are good for my energy body. And I am so sure that it will be very good for the other persons too that I'm interacting with when I'm doing that.
Yeah, so sure.
Taking really good care of myself and also saying no to things that are normally you would say yes because they're so socially accepted.
Well, you're talking about boundaries here, and boundaries become more and more important, of course, because you become more energy sensitive. You understand I am energy. So how do you? Of course, then you want to have this energy being very strong, right?
Yeah.
But the whole awareness, you say could say journey here is that you see where are my energy leakages, right?
Yeah.
And at a certain point, you need to build in some boundaries for yourself, but also to the outside world. It's like, okay, this is just a limit, right? And be very radical in like, I need this energy to grow. But because the world, I cannot, how you say that? I cannot help the world and myself from a low energy state.
No.
I cannot help the world from this reactivity state, right? I'm in the wrong place.
Yeah.
But I guess that's just the spiritual thing here happening, right? Yeah. Because we all have to move through that, unless you've been brought up by wolves or something, right? But if you're been brought up by people, like most of us, you have a challenge there for sure.
Yeah.
A balancing thing. But you see with people, if they're in it for a while, they start making radical changes and also make choices that are beneficial, not from an egoist thing, no, not from that, but just for an energy thing. Yeah. And then they can help their families better, their friends better, their family, they come from a totally different thing.
Sometimes you're in a group of people and they're together because it's. And this is something that I've noticed, especially coming out of COVID, where we've been very much, isolated from big groups of people. Mm-hmm. And so now you see that everything is starting up again.
Yeah.
A lot of people are having difficulties
for sure
going back into these groups. And then you see those social gatherings where people don't feel very happy and secure.
Yeah.
But they're doing it because it's kind of the social thing to do.
Well, we all want to be loved, right? There's nothing wrong with that. We need communities. We're no island, No. And this goes back to a really a primitive state, you could say, right? We need people. We need other people to be able to survive, right? We survive in groups. So there is that, but I think this, especially in this COVID era, you could say we have sort of an accelerated growth that can happen from this, where you say, okay, now I get this, how you say, these extremes now, right? Yeah. Where it used to be just like that. Now we get this isolating thing for years. And now you're going back in that. And how do I feel in that? It's like, now I can grow. Yeah. Because, bring in all these principles and
then it's especially if you say, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go into that party or whatever. Okay.
But how do you go in?
How do you go in? With what kind of energy do you go in? And what I see happening in some of these gatherings is that it's very different what kind of people you bring together. But we were cycling past a concert the other day, and I see all these people drinking a lot of alcohol and trying to calm down their nerve system in a way to survive.
Do it. Yeah, sure.
But you can do it in different ways as well. Sure. And to just protect your own energy and to not have all this leakage that you...
for some people it's also to make the decision not to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Right? It's just something you don't do anymore. You don't need anymore.
Yeah.
That's a lot of things that this qigong can help with.
But I think, and because now we're talking a lot about interaction with other people and how that works, and I think there is a big challenge there, and there's boundaries. But the first thing that I encountered doing this training was the connection with myself and my own energy, and to really go into where do I have the stagnation, and where can I have more flow into my own system, into my own life, the decisions that I make for myself.
That's the internal part of this training, is that you, on all these frequencies that you encounter, like the physical frequency, the astral frequency, which means like the whole personality, the mentally, creating flow, recognizing stagnations, releasing these stagnations. Of course, they're going to have a profound effect on the outside as well, right? But it's this, the separation thing is something that sort of disappears at a certain point, right? So the more you can get in flow, the more you lose resistance, the more the higher can express through you could say, right? And how that expresses itself in daily life just sort of almost goes by itself, without your doing. If you start releasing these stagnations, then your higher abilities, you could say, they're already there. It's like your gut feelings, your intuition, how you guide yourself through life, making choices. All these things start happening more and more natural without you having to, being like, oh. That state, that state of in yourself. Could you say in yourself? Yeah, in yourself, of yourself. You recognize that so well that it's like you can put that aside so easily at a certain point. Not every time, but if it happens, it's short. It's short-lived, right? Yeah. I mean, this egoistic state, you could say, drama. Where like us or people we teach, that could have thrown them off for months, right? If something happens, they're like, oh, and they caught up in drama. At a certain point, they're like, that's not me, I'm energy, I can release this energy. I know skills how to transform this. I can decide in the morning how I want to feel. I can start in the morning with how does this energy want to behave today. And that's different than me, right? It's this energy. So you get this totally different thing.
It made such a difference.
Being, I could say. Not thing. Being. You're an energy being.
But that's exactly what it is. You start your morning off and you can decide how you feel.
How is this
what
energy?
kind of energy you have. So you can actually transform your energy into something that brings you joy, that brings you, and
absolutely,
and it will change your perspective on everything that happens during that day.
And speaking of the law of attraction, this goes far, right? This everyone you meet in situations, and us sitting podcasting here talking about this stuff, we're just throwing it out there, I guess, right? But it's all energy, how it comes across, and that's just a beautiful process, and it never stops, I guess. It keeps developing, and I think on the highest level you start, it's daily life, but also in awareness. Your awareness changes so much, is that if you have an understanding of yourself going through this process of recognizing all these frequencies, etc., you start understanding the universe, if you know what I mean, more and more, because you get this microcosm macrocosm thing, and that's that for me personally, that gives me so much almost comfort. It's like it's not an understanding, but you have the experience of it, and there's so much truth in there, right? And touching this truth, I have the feeling I'm just barely touching it now, right? But it's happening. That makes life so much easier, because it's like, so what is actually important here? And, it's this alignment.
Absolutely.
Which gives comfort, and it gives, it's soothing.
Yeah.
You could say.
You kind of flow above.
Yeah.
The
The contraction.
The contraction.
Yeah. If you understand your own contraction, and you release it, what's the opposite of contraction?
Flow.
And expansion.
Yeah, expansion.
Right. You get flow and you get expansion. So the mind expands out.
Yeah.
Not in a reactive way, not in an egoistic way, just in an alignment way. And what's there? Universe is there, right? So you get this reconnection, and everything starts to make sense from this experience. So we're talking about experience here, right? Moving beyond the and the touching and the controlling to, okay, let that go. And now what?
Stillness,
Yeah, daily life, right?
What is that was a very, maybe one of the most important remarks in this whole podcast is experience. Because you can listen to this podcast, but as long as you haven't experienced your own energy and
these layers,
it will continue to be a concept.
Yeah,
and that's a pity.
That's a pity, yeah.
Because the experience is what it is.
That's what it is, It's,
and then you can reconnect with everything around you. Because when the garden is right outside, and I'm looking at it, and
it's green.
It's green. There's a lot of plants, and
it's Dutch green, means there's a lot of rain. But
So, but when I walk in there, I just feel the energy change, and if I feel stressed, I walk into the garden and I just completely feel relaxed and connected, and sitting down, and I see all these small creatures, flies and bees and everything, and I feel so aligned.
That's it. And you're present. You're in the now. That's the thing. Experience, it happens in the now, right? The contraction and thinking and blah, blah, and being caught up in the past and in the future in that game. You're not here, right? That's not where your highest self is. No. Your highest self is in an experience. So you experience energy, everything shifts, everything changes. And that's just a beautiful, beautiful ride.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I like to go outside now.
Let's go outside. It's not raining, so that helps.
Well, I hope that was helpful, and
sure. Yeah, it was a nice talk.
It was nice, and I hope to see you all the next time.
Yeah, for sure. So thanks for listening and watching, and take care. Bye.